Alright, this is going to be a video breaking down the Pac-Man Autosplitter I've made. This is just a rough, rudimentary version, but it does the job. I have plans to include updates and features. I've written the code for several of them, including detecting which board you're on, if it's the start screen, sending commands to the timer, etc., etc. But I wanted to put this out. So, the first thing I had to figure out was how to let the computer know that a board had been completed. So first you have to find a visual sign. And there are many visual signs for when you complete a board. For example, one, the board flashes blue and white. Everyone knows this. This is a Pac-Man, staple. The board flashes blue and white. But however, to look for that, you have to look for the repeating patterns. And the patterns and the code is just extremely messy and not efficient. And it also happens when you take a death. I tried looking at the lives in the bottom left, but those also flash. The issue I ran into that with is during the small intermissions and animations between, Strawberry and Peach 1, they disappear. So it's not a reliable indicator that the board has changed. So the first version I had landed on fruits. There is a pixel down here that is always filled by one of the sprites for the fruits. So what I did is I just had it if the fruit disappears and it goes black, you split the board, because that is a good indicator. However, we run into the issue that was the hardest for this problem. You run into the issue of, well, what happens if you die? Because the same thing happens when you die. The fruit disappears. So I had to look for indicators and different things that would give me a clue to how to look at this problem. So there are some things that indicate that a board has been started or cleared. 1. Pac-Man spawns in the center of the board. 2. The ready text. And the third one is that Blinky and the ghosts spawn up top, right? So you can look for these things. However, these also happen when you die. So I had to figure out, how do I tell the game, how do I look for something that shows you that the game, you took a death. I started looking at you count the lives, but it's just a real pain in the ass. So what I decided to do is I tried thinking outside the box. When you play Pac-Man, you immediately start moving. And you can't die within the first second, right? So what I did was I'll just look at these two dots right here. And if the two dots are still present, that means it's a new board. And it tells the timer to split, that you've completed a board. However, if you die and one of those two dots or both of the dots are missing, it then tells the computer, hey, don't split. This is still the same attempt, and it just keeps going. So I wrote some modifier into this code where it detects the exact pixels and everything, and it starts working. So to set this up, what we have to do when you do this, the first thing you want to do in Livesplit, you want to set your start button and your split button to the 1 key. This is important because when you boot up Pac-Man, the 1 key is the player 1 button, and it just starts it at the exact same time. It is also, and I've included in the code, it sends the signal to it for that to be the splitting mechanism. The second thing, this is the important one. Because it's scanning your screen, what you want to do is you want to open Pac-Man in full screen. And what this does is it places it exactly in the center of your screen, and so it's all set up, ready to go for your game. So first thing we want to do, open up the Pac-Man Autosplitter. So it's running right now. So we start it. Automatically starts the timer on the left. So we're just playing. We'll play for 10 seconds or so. Just run around. And let's say we take a death. Okay? So it won't split. So it's going to detect. It's going to say, hey, are the dots there? They're not. Okay, so don't split. So now we keep playing. Keep going through it. We grab some of these fruits. And we clear the board. So what's it do now? It says, oh, the dots are there. So it splits your timer for you. So it automatically splits it for you. And so this will keep happening until you tell it to stop. So for example, if I were to now clear the board again, it won't split because it's not on the loading screen. So I had it detect that it's not, so there's no dependency and the animations don't mess it up. So then, as soon as it loads in, it splits like that. So then you can keep playing, keep going, run back and forth, clear the board, go to the next one, it splits again. So it'll keep doing this, and so this is just a rudimentary version that I've come up with right now. I will try and put out more patches and everything. If you need a more in-depth tutorial, I can do that. But this is the little project I've been working on for the past few days. So hope you guys enjoy it. I'm gonna eventually port it so that it works on cameras. it'll be a little bit more complex, but and it'll require a little bit more custom setting up, but it'll work good. So, all right, thanks, peace.